Parliament finally resumes tomorrow, and the opposition parties, that is to say Labour and the Lib Dems reportedly, so perhaps we should say centrist parties rather than actual functional opposition, have been cooking up a bit of a trap for Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak and the Tories themselves over the fixed penalty notices that got dished out to them during recess. Both men have accepted they broke the law. Neither have admitted to doing so knowingly, though, and certainly neither have resigned over it, citing their ignorance of a law they themselves introduced, but if to be believed, they never bloody read before voting it through, and forcing it on the rest of us. So what are Labour and the Libs up to then? Well, they've laid a trap. They've apparently cooked up a motion of condemnation in Johnson and Sunak for their behaviour and are basically challenging the Tory backbenchers to vote against it. Now, voting against it would be seen as a sign of support for Johnson and Sunak's law-breaking, the party of law and order supporting law-breaking. That'll go down well. And any Tories voting in support of them, who perhaps have local elections happening in their areas, will face that being weaponised against them by the Labour and the Lib Dems. So this is all a bit of a local election opportunism on their part, shall we say. It's all quite clever and timely. If I was a betting man, I'd imagine it had nothing to do with Keir Starmer. Anyway, Johnson is expected to give a speech on Tuesday to try and head off any successful vote to censure him, and he's expected to carry on lying to himself, to Parliament and the world regarding his status in response to the Ukraine crisis, still claiming to be leading on the global response to what is going on there. We know it isn't true. The footage we've seen speaks for itself. Other world leaders completely ignore him. If only British voters would do the bloody same. Still, it'll probably be enough for his backbenchers who can point to reassurances given as an excuse to loyally vote as he wants them to, mindlessly stupid, as so very many of them are. If successful, the censure measure could result in his suspension or even expulsion from Parliament, so it's bound to fail. Tory voters must surely realise how much his actions are damaging what passes for their brand, but still, for many, he's a vote winner and not a liability. What is definitely being damaged, should he survive this, though, is the Constitution, which states that if Johnson can be demonstrably shown to have misled Parliament, he should resign. Now, he's been fined once so far. The ignorance plea he's playing right now will only hold so long as he doesn't get any more fines, yet it is expected that he will. Any Tories supporting him, should any more fines drop, will without doubt be putting their party before Parliament, as they've always placed their party before people. And the constitutional historian Lord Peter Hennessy, a former Times journalist, hardly a lefty, branded him a rogue prime minister unworthy of the Queen, not that I care one iota about that, and that by refusing to resign had sullied his office like no other, turning it into an adventure playground for one man's narcissistic vanity. Very colourful language, and I agree very much with that sentiment. He said the Prime Minister had broken the law, misled Parliament, and effectively shredded the ministerial code. It was all pretty damning stuff from an expert on parliamentary conduct. This opposition vote is expected either on Tuesday, after Johnson makes his excuses, or Wednesday, when it is strongly rumoured Johnson is going to dodge PMQs to fly off to India early to begin a 2-day begging mission for post-Brexit trade with Narendra Modi. This is Johnson leading on Ukraine, by the way, a trade mission to a country refusing to censure or cease trading with Russia, which is really all just another fridge for him to hide in.